You guys know the routine by now. Another rain day in Derby can only mean one thing. Back to the shop to work on Lieutenant Dan. Last couple of videos on the truck, we completed the hydraulic system on it. For you guys that are not familiar with this project, this is Lieutenant Dan, entire playlist on the channel of how we got to this point. But today's project at hand is air conditioning.
How you doing, bud?
What are you doing? Are you lost?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It has.
What is this?
Oh,
ITS?
I felt left out. I felt real left out.
Oh, never a dull moment around here, folks. Aaron is still out. It was a sad day last time, Jason. Last video we recorded on this truck is the first video Aaron was not in. Oh. He's been in every video on Lieutenant Dan except for that one. He didn't make that last video.
This is in spirit of him.
So this is in spirit of Aaron.
Have a peanut.
Yeah. So this is, what is this system? Is it Cold Master? Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
This is a Cold Master system. I've actually bought this on the interweb about 6 months ago. The main reason I went with this system was because of this control box. It was the most compact, and I think that's a little nicer looking than most of the red dot systems. What do you think?
I agree. I work with red dot a lot.
So,
ooh, that's nifty.
Yeah. So anyways, the main reason I went with this system is, one, the price. The price was very affordable. Two, I really liked this particular box. It's going to fit down between the seats very nice. I think it looks somewhat appealing.
I like it.
I'm not a big fan of I know Red Dot makes a bunch of different systems, but the big stuff that's hanging off the back of the cab or on the top, I wanted this to be...
And you'd have to sacrifice the ribbing on the back of the cab.
Yeah, I wanted this to be somewhat inconspicuous and kind of just do its job and sit over in the corner and not bother anybody. Did that make sense? That made perfect sense, didn't it?
I'm doing my best. I mean, you don't have to be
I'm talking about the air conditioner. Sure. The air conditioner. So, the first thing we need to do this morning is, this is the drive compressor. Or actually, it's just the compressor because the engine drives it.
It's driven, yeah.
Driven compressor. We need to find a way to get that bolted to the truck.
It's driven to get good grades.
And we're thinking pretty much the only option we got is right in there somewhere.
Better get that shot quick because this thing's heavy.
We're going to have to come with some fancy bracketry for that.
Yeah, oh, that's going to be really close to the fan to line that belt up.
It'll be fine.
Well, how about out here?
All right. No, you're doing good. All right, let us figure out what we're going to do. We'll be back in a few hours. So hopefully this will make sense to you guys. Basically, we got to get that compressor mounted somewhere in this area. We do have a few mounting bolt options here. What we've decided to do, we got a cardboard cutout here. Basically, we're going to make a 1/2-inch steel plate that'll bolt right up here on top. And then in theory, the compressor will bolt underneath it. We'll use the top mounting bolts where it'll kind of hinge. Then we got another bolt down here we can kind of make a little bit of a turnbuckle to use it as a belt tensioning device. So we got the cardboard layout cut out, transfer it over to our 1/2-inch steel plate, which you see right there. Mr. Man in the shop is going to fire the plasma cutter up, and
that's going to stick now, isn't it?
You at it, yeah. Hey, people have been called a lot worse around here.
That's true. I think I have too, actually.
So while he's cutting that, I'm going to lay out a couple ears. We got to make a few ears to mount that compressor onto, so he can cut those out. And we'll start glue sticking this thing together. Well, Mr. Man in the Shop, it is the moment of truth. You're going to show them our beautiful artwork?
Yeah. Hold on. I got my name tag.
Oh, yes. Yeah. It's like a P for perfect.
Or a D for, oh.
Most likely that. The real question is, do our bolt holes line up?
I don't even want to know. Well, that one does.
Well, the first one, that's always the easy one.
You got shorter bolts in?
I do have some shorter bolts. That's 1/2 inch, right?
Yeah.
Let's try this one right here. Moment of truth.
I don't want to.
This is where you just pretend like it actually started and it really didn't.
I don't know. It felt like it wanted to. Did you give me a 1/2 inch? I feel like this is metric. Is it a Bruce Lee bolt? Oh, it ain't looking good. It's all your fault.
I didn't mark it, I just drilled it.
That's exactly. I marked it right.
Well, you got lucky, Mr. Man, in the shop after we cleaned the dirt out of the threads.
That's right.
It fits like a glove.
That's right. That's why I don't wear gloves. Apparently I didn't clean down deep enough.
All right, so we're gonna get that bolted off. And then I guess the next thing we need to do is figure out where to put our tabs at, isn't it?
How do you go about bolting something off?
You tighten that down?
That's bolting it on.
Oh my goodness.
If I thread this on here tighter, it's not coming off. I got news for you.
I bet you the rest of the world knew what I meant.
I bet they had the same damn question I did.
This is why you're man in the shop.
Oh, I'm not allowed to be man in front of the camera yet?
No.
No. Did man behind the scenes get
Man behind the scenes does a horrible job of staying behind the scenes.
Oh, so that's why I'm here.
All right, let us get this secured. How's that sound?
There you go.
And then we'll get our tabs on there.
Yeah.
All right, we have our tabs bolted to the compressor.
Uh-huh. I'm trying to line this up, sorry.
Do you got marks up there?
Yeah.
This is very crucial. I thought this is the
actually
most
trying
important
to
part.
line the belt up.
Of
The
the
marks were
operation.
just a general.
So I'm assuming at some point you're going to want me to fire the welder up.
I was gonna say you're holding the wrong thing.
This don't weld?
No, I don't think so.
All right, hold on.
Turn on.
Tell me when.
Okay. Sounds like more than a tack.
Well,
Yeah, it'll hold. All right. How's it look? Looking across the pulley
it
face.
looks like yours
Backside
needs to go towards the
engine.
engine. Quite a bit, actually.
Hell, your giant tack worked.
That's not looking horrible.
Can you get in there? I'm gonna try and look at the top to bottom of the pulley. Yeah.
Tell me when.
Shoot.
Well, Jason or Mr. Man in the shop, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out.
Gotta put my name tag back on.
Belt lines up good. We're kind of out of pieces and parts on this. We need to get the proper size belt, and we need to get a turnbuckle to make us a belt tensioning device. So I say we put a pause on that and go on to our next piece we need to mount, which is the condenser. And it needs to go out here on the front of the radiator somewhere. What are you thinking? Looks crooked. I think it goes the other way.
Oh, sorry.
No, not like that. So basically, we can't really mount it straight to the core because we got to get the hoses on it, right?
Right. I mean, you could use those speed clip things, but you're never gonna.
Yeah.
And plus, that's gonna just eat through it.
Yeah, so
Space it out a little.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to find a couple strips of metal and go top to bottom, and that'll give us something to bolt that off to.
Yeah.
And that way it'll be spaced off there a little bit so we're not rubbing holes in anything. And this will be its own separate entity. What do you think?
I like that idea.
All right, let's see what we can round up.
Serviceability.
So here's what we're thinking. We got these metal strips right here, pre-drilled holes top and bottom. We're basically gonna bolt them right here in front of the radiator like so. And then we should be able to attach that condenser to those. So the trick is, can we drill through this without poking a hole in the radiator?
You poke a hole in that radiator.
Stay tuned to find out.
Hey, I am the ghost of Commander's future. You should have drilled a pilot hole.
Huh? Pilot holes are for airplanes.
Look at you go. 3 more.
Yeah. All right. See how this goes. All right, we got this bar on here. Everything bolted up. That looks good. We kind of realized the design flaw putting this one on here. The way this bracket's made, if we put that bar down through here, we ain't gonna be able to attach our lines. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a bracket that's gonna come over to the side and hold this. It's not gonna take a whole lot to hold this in place. So we're gonna re-engineer this one to do a whoop-de-doo thingy-mabob.
Can I just say one thing?
What's that?
I used to be a fan. Now I'm an air conditioner.
Sorry, folks. Well, there she is, Mr. Man in the shop. I think that's going to work pretty good. We did a little custom bending on this bracket here, but that shouldn't block a whole lot of airflow.
No.
Should hold that in place. Should allow us to get our hoses on there just fine. I think we're in good shape. What do you think, mister? Think it's going to work?
I don't know because I just got out here.
Oh, you don't know because he just got here. You need to study it for a minute, and he'll figure it out.
I think your son's going to be an engineer when he grows up.
Oh, boy. Not sure how I feel about that one.
I wasn't there for the design.
I will support anything you do there, buddy, but we'll have to talk about that engineering school a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think we're as far as we can go without rounding up some parts, so stay tuned. Well, it's about a week later from the first half of this video, and unfortunately, Jason had to head back to Pennsylvania. All the other guys are working, so I am home alone. Got a little bit of time here on a rainy morning to work on this. As you guys see in the first half of this video, we got the compressor mounted, and Jason did pick up a belt while he was in town. The next thing we need to do is figure out how to tension this belt. I've been kind of playing with this morning. Picked up a turnbuckle in town at the hardware store. And there is a hole, I don't know if you guys can see, there's a hole, a threaded hole right here. So kind of what the plan is we're gonna bolt this turnbuckle off to that. And then I got this long bolt here, and we'll kind of put that through there like so. But the first thing I need to do is I need to make sure this stays centered in here and don't walk around back and forth. So I've got a small piece of tubing and a couple washers. I think I'm gonna make a spacer. I got one mocked up over here on the bench. Let me show you. Nothing fancy, but it should be effective. Got a washer, piece of tubing, washer. So this will go up against the compressor here. This will go up against our turnbuckle. I got just kind of a generic bolt through it, holding it all together. Gonna weld the washer to that. Do 2 of them to keep it centered. Whoop, hello. And hopefully that'll be our belt tensioning device. We'll see. Let's tack it off. All right, got all of our pieces made. Here is the spacers. We just welded up. Got 2 of those. I purposely made these a little bit short. We'll see if that was a good decision or not, so I can kind of center it up in there. This is the bolt. We got a hole right here. Got a couple washers to shim that. And the turnbuckle, the most important part. I did screw this out and put a jam nut on there. So that way, once we get it tight, we can kind of lock it off. But first things first, let's go ahead and put this on there. I got a lock washer to go with it. Thought about Loctiting that, but it's going into an aluminum housing. So I'm hoping a lock washer is good enough. I'm gonna put 2 washers behind it because I want to shim it off that cover there a little bit. I don't want it to wear an unnecessary hole into that. I think I'm gonna put a washer on the other side as well. Let me grab one real quick. All right, got that snugged up. We're not gonna officially, don't want to officially tighten that off until I know we're good on everything else. So that also kind of tells us where that bracket needs to be without putting any extra bind on it. So bolt, spacer, looks like we need maybe 4 washers right there. Center that up a little bit. All right, let's go with that. We'll go through the turnbuckle. Now here's gonna be the moment of truth. Will this spacer fit on the other side? Oh, it's gonna be close. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. Now, in theory, if we turn this, can you guys see? The belt is tightening. All right, before I get that too tight, let's get a nut on that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a nut and a lock washer on the end of that. See if we can get this in here, we'll get that tightened down. Come on, gear wrench. Okay, now let's crank this out relatively tight. Before I get too carried away, I'm going to tighten this up. Oh yes. Check that out. That worked way good. All right, last thing I need to do, I'll tighten down this. Should lock it in place so I can't move. Oh, sweet. We are one step closer to AC, folks. Give you guys a little bit of the setup here, the whole system. This is the bracket we built. That is working out absolutely awesome. I don't know if you guys can see, that thing is solid as a rock. Got the couple ears on it, got it mounted there. And this is our adjusting system. Down here, kind of get a side view of it, see what it looks like. I'm tickled with that. That looks like almost factory. Almost factory, look at that. That is a thing of beauty. All right, got the compressor mounted. We got the condenser mounted. The next thing we need to mount is the evaporator and the control box that goes in the cab. This thing is ultimately going to get mounted between the seats up there. What I don't know for sure is there's a few other powers in play here. We got the control box with a dump body that needs to go there. I don't know exactly for sure what seat I'm gonna put in there yet. So I'll tell you what I'm gonna do just for generic kind of mock-up purposes so we can keep this going on. This thing comes with no mounting hardware. You have to build it all. I took some flat bar, some 1/4-inch flat bar, drilled holes in it to match the holes here. And I'm gonna leave these long. So basically what we're gonna do is I'm gonna bolt those to the side of here. We're just gonna set that up in there close. Worst case scenario, we're gonna lower it a couple inches, which is not really gonna hurt us a whole lot on hose length and stuff like that. So once we get this mounted, we'll have to find a place where to mount the receiver dryer, which I've been eyeballing. I ain't found a good spot yet, but I need to get that mounted and kind of see where our hose routing is gonna go. This is gonna go somewhere in the high side of the system. Then we'll be able to start running hoses. So far, guys, I'll be honest with you, my first impressions of this Coldmaster system, I am not sponsored by them. I have no affiliation with them. They gave me nothing, but I have been thoroughly impressed with it. If there was one suggestion I got, I'm not overly impressed with the hose, but I haven't got there to it yet, so just stay tuned for that. But as far as the components in here, the compressor, the condenser, everything like that, I mean, it looks as good as anything I got on any of my other pieces of equipment. I kind of went with this system. One, it does have heat in it, so I can put my heat and AC all on one control and know how to separate it to the dash. And I thought this here was a much more appeasing look than some of the red dot systems and vintage air and some of the other ones on the market. I just kind of like the look of it better, and so far I've been impressed with the pieces and parts, but we're not done yet, so stay tuned. So let me get the flat bar on here, let me grab a step ladder, let's get that positioned in the cab, and then we'll see if we can figure out some hose routing. All right, it's a long ways up here into this cab, even for a tall guy like me. Let's see if we can get this kind of wiggled over here into place. All right, hold on. I'm coming up in there. Coming in. Get this wiggled over here about where we think it's gonna be. That ought to work. So I'm thinking this is gonna be about the right height when it's all said and done. I don't want it mounted very low. I kind of want to mount it up high where it's easy to get to, easy to access. This will have heat. That is the actual factory heat on the truck. I have full intentions of keeping that working as well. But our next big obstacle is going to be is we got to get the hoses into this thing. I've kind of been eyeballing the option of going down through the floor, and there's just not a good route. There's a bunch of cross members down there. The transmission's right there. It's really crowded right underneath the floor. And I want to have these hoses somewhere kind of off themselves a little bit so they don't rub or chafe or leak or any of that stuff. So I think what we're going to do is we're probably going to go out the back of the cab, very similar to what these airlines do. We'll poke through right there, and then we can go down, loop around, and actually go up that side of the frame rail and kind of keep everything out of harm's way. But for now, we got this set in here. We need to figure out where to put that receiver dryer, and then maybe we'll start stretching some lines out. Been kind of fumbling around with this receiver dryer here for the last couple minutes, trying to figure out where to mount it. First thought was maybe build a bracket and put it up there. But I'm not for sure that's the best route because my hose will come down by my belt. Kind of the same scenario with over here. I don't want to get the hoses that close to the fan and the belt. So then I was going to come back here, maybe build a bracket off this air cleaner. There's just nowhere clean to do it without a big old gaudy bracket that's most likely going to be in the way of the engine if we have to work on it at some point. I looked at tucking it down the frame rail. Couldn't really find anything I liked there. So after a whole bunch of trial and error, I think what we come up with, so we're going to mount it right here on the frame rail, just underneath the radiator. My only disadvantage of that is I may go to the parts store and see if I can turn this into a 90 instead of a straight, so it'll keep that hose real nice and tight coming around here. If I can't turn that into a 90 and I got to keep it a straight, it's not really the end of the world. I think it'll still work. Should be pretty well protected down there. Should kind of be out of the way of everything, and it should make our hose routing fairly neat. So let's go ahead and get it secured, and then we'll go from there. Nice, you can kind of see what I'm talking about now. If this was a 90 instead of a straight, I think that would work out pretty well. I don't know if this 90 will go on there or not. Yeah, that may be a little bit too tight. Let's cut a piece of hose, see what it looks like. Quick change of plans here real quick before we start running hoses. I have determined the best route to get these hoses in the cab is going to be coming through the back, very similar to the way these air lines come in. We got two air conditioner hoses and we got 2 heater hoses. This kit did come with a very nice bulkhead kit that will kind of keep all that nice and neaty and sealed up. So I've got everything marked here. We're going to go ahead and get those hoses drilled. Got a step drill to do it, and that'll at least get the hoses to inside the cab. From there, we just got a real short little jumper that'll go in the back of the box, so that'll get 90% of the hoses ran and everything tidied up. So let's go ahead and get those drilled, get the bulkhead installed, and then we'll start running the hoses. So this is what that manifold looks like with all those fittings in there. This is kind of going to be a temporary test fit. Hopefully it fits for now. Whenever we go to put this on here permanently, we'll put a little bit of silicone or something in there to kind of make sure she's watertight. But hopefully we got, oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. Well, 2 out of 4, that's 50%. Let's see where the other 2 went. There's one right there. Oh, we got one more left. Looks like it lines up. I can just find the fitting. Where'd she go? Oh, hold on. Still not the most convenient place, but it's definitely the best place I found so far. All right, let's go inside and see if we can get the nuts on. All right, here's what we got on the inside. See if we can get these nuts started. This will definitely be easier with the second person, but I think we can get it by ourselves here. Who needs man behind the scenes? All right, there's one. 3 more to go. There you have it. Nice. So basically, there's a trim piece that goes right here. So after them hoses come out, they should come out and they'll loop right up in the bottom of this. So it'll kind of be, kind of split the difference between the inside and the outside. So with that being in place, let's run some hoses. Like I said before, the hoses on this thing are the one thing on this kit that I'm not for sure how well they're going to hold up. I guess time will tell. We'll find out together. But basically what they have done is they just sent us some generic lengths of hoses. Obviously the reason why they do that is this kit is made to go on many different applications. Now, they give you the choice between using hose clamps with a fancy hook on them, or they also send crimp sleeves, but you have to have a special tool to crimp them, which I do not have. I don't trust the hose clamps. I did go ahead and order the crimping tool. It should be here in a day or so, but that's not going to keep us from going ahead and getting everything to length and everything ran. So this is going to be our weapon of choice. This is a pretty conventional air conditioning crimping ring, and the tool I believe is about 90 bucks. So I think that's going to be money well spent versus fighting all those hose clamps. So the plumbing on this thing is fairly simple. This black box right here is the black box we have in the cab. This is what we have mounted to the front of the radiator. That is the compressor that's right there. And this is the receiver dryer we put down here. So the first 2 runs I want to make are the ones coming from in the cab. So we basically need to run the bigger hose, which we'll call the blue hose, or the low side. It needs to go from in the cab to the compressor. Then we need to go from in the cab to the receiver dryer. So let's get those 2 stretched out and hooked in. If we get those done, we are on the home stretch. Now, Just like anything else, you want to make sure everything stays clean, especially in an air conditioning system. And the compressor and the receiver dryer, you want to make sure you keep the moisture out of them as long as possible. So I don't know what the best route back through there is. There is barely enough room for the hose, more or less the hose and the camera. Let me see if I can find a route through here, and then I'll pick you guys up on the other side. All right, I did manage to get the hoses stretched back here, which was no easy task. Everybody that comes and sees this truck in person, the first thing they say is, wow, it's a lot bigger than it looks on camera. And working in this cab proves to be a pain in the butt, because you gotta have a step stool to do about anything. So we're making do, so I'm not gonna crimp these yet. I'm not gonna do anything with them. I just basically want to get everything mocked up, make sure it's gonna fit, make sure we got enough hose, and then we'll come back at a later date. And once we're happy with everything, we'll kind of make it permanent. But these, I think, are gonna lay down in that rail pretty well. I need to get that hose underneath the other one. There we go. That don't look too shabby. Let's work that around to the front. So here's kind of the routing. I opted to go the high route to clear the drive shaft and everything. I obviously need to come back and put some zip ties on this later and kind of make sure it's secured and not rubbing anywhere. But we also have a bunch of other hoses and wires that have to go down through there. So I'm thinking I'll probably kind of do that all at once. I'm gonna make sure I leave myself plenty of slack and plenty of play. When we come up here, this big hose is gonna go to the compressor, and the small hose is gonna go to the receiver dryer. So let's go ahead and get those hooked up, and then we'll go from there. I have got a fancy hose cutter somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's in my service truck, which is not here. So we're gonna go old school on this with a utility knife and make do. Let's go right there. It should be plenty long. You know what's more aggravating than not having the right tool is knowing you own the right tool and you can't find it. Oh, come on. All right, so we'll slide sleeve on, and that should push on, and then that'll eventually get crimped. All right, there's that one. And this one here needs to go down there. Get you guys situated where you can see. Again, we'll make sure we leave ourselves plenty of slack. No need to cut ourselves short right here. So that one is gonna go right there. Got it. And we'll put a small sleeve on that just to make sure we got it. We know we got all the parts we need. Slide that on there. It's almost going together too good. All right, now around to the front side. So this one is just a short hose that goes from the receiver dryer up here to the condenser. And this, I did get a 90 for this, I think I mentioned. And this looks like it's going to work out very, very well. Get that up on there like so. Nice short hose to about right here. That's gonna be, that's better than factory right there, folks. Better than factory. What I'd do to have a hose cutter right now. Or a good utility knife, I'd take one of those too. All right, slide that on. Slide that on. Oh, very nice. Very nice. All right, we got one hose left, and I'm hoping we got enough. We gotta go from the condenser back to the compressor. That's what I got. So hope we make it. All right, let's put this one on up here first. Push that up on there. Come on, baby. You know what? I'm gonna take that off and put it on so I don't push and break something. Boy, that one don't want to go in there. It's going though. Hey-yah. Hey-yah. Hey. Gotta make the right noises. There she goes. There she goes. All right. Attach that back. Now we gotta go down and under. Should go behind this one and around. Oh, we're getting close. We're getting close. Look at that. All right, this is the last connection for now. See if we can get it wiggled up in there. Oh yes. Very nice. Very nice. I like it. Well, there it is, guys. Just to recap, we got the compressor mounted, belt on and tensioned. All the hoses and stuff are in there. I'm very happy with that bracket and the way that all turned out. That's absolutely awesome. From there, we got the receiver dryer mounted. That location turned out, man, like it was meant to go there. Perfect. Condensers on the front. I still may come back in and maybe put a little brace in here. I don't know. I don't have anything tightened down that right now. Everything's just kind of mocked up. But long story short, it's there. It's going to work. We pretty much got a plan. As far as the hoses and stuff go underneath, I'm very happy with the routing on them. They're definitely going to need to be attached in a few places just to make sure they don't cause us any problems in the future. But run around to the back of the cab there. Have not got anything hooked up in here because that is going to be... Oh, man. I need to find an interior guy. If anybody out there on YouTube has anything to do with interiors and trucks, and you want to come help on Lieutenant Dan, get a hold of me. Comment down below or email me, mike@dirtperfect1.com, because I am avoiding the inside of that truck like the plague. That's probably going to be the last thing we do. I know, at some point it's eventually going to have to be done, and I'll either find somebody or I will find motivation and get it done, because trust me, I want this truck done as bad as what you guys want this truck done, and I'm really hoping we have it up and running this spring. As I'm filming this here today, it is October 7th, so we've got some good progress here through the summer, kind of in between jobs and in between rain days and stuff, but hopefully here in the next 3 to 4 weeks, work's going to start slowing down because the weather's going to start turning. Aaron should be back from bull making and be back here in the shop full time, which will help quite a bit. Now that I've got the air conditioner, compressor, and all that stuff mocked up, we can get the front fenders painted, we can get the hood painted, we can get the whole front doghouse back on. What you guys will most likely see in the next video is we're probably going to start in on the wiring. Probably going to start at the back of the truck and work our way to the front of the truck. Again, avoiding the interior as long as possible, but we're getting there, guys. It's been a cool build. I've really enjoyed working on it. It seems like you guys have enjoyed the videos, and we're gonna keep plugging along on it. If you guys haven't seen the playlist, if this is the first video you've seen on this truck for some crazy reason, there's a whole playlist on the channel from the very beginning, from the day I bought it to where we're at today, and hopefully in the near future there'll be a video of it actually on the job working. But that's going to be it for now. That's going to be a wrap on this one. I need my crimping tool to come in so I can crimp the hoses. I still have the electrical to do on this, but I'm going to try to do that with some of the other electrical on the lighting section of it. And yeah, long story short, I think that's about as far as we can go right now until I round up some more help and some more parts. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We'll get her done. We will get her done. I promise. We're making progress, and if anybody out there wants to help tackle the interior on this thing, let me know. I am all ears. But anyways, enough of me rambling. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give her a big thumbs up. Definitely helps the channel and much appreciated. You don't want to miss out on the next part. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bells. Either way, guys, hope you enjoyed. We'll see you on the next one.